closing of a Bahai Cemetry in Iran last week is the latest in a series of incidents in a government-led campaign of hatred against Baha'is.
I can't believe my ears. I'm in shock and disbelief. How long does this have to go on? The cemetery in question, designed specifically for Baha'is, is in a remote area of the countryside on the outskirts of Isfahan. It is barren, sullen, lifeless, and devoid of any beauty and sacredness. It provides one function, a place for Baha'is to bury their loved ones. Relegated to this spot, no doubt, because they are thought of as unclean and should not be buried near the clean members of society, the Baha'is accept their lot and hope at minimum that they can bury their loved ones in peace. This wish, as it turns out, this one basic human right, will not be granted to the Baha'is. It's amazing to me that there can be so much hate and enmity aimed at a group of people whose creed and fundamental belief, whose every endeavor and longing is the unity of mankind. What have they done to deserve this? The Baha'is of Iran, like their sisters and brothers around the globe, promote unity, brotherhood, peace, universal education, equality of women and men. They are a population of loving and law-abiding citizens, never the aggressor, but always the recipient of unimaginable oppression. Here we see yet another act of brutal hostility directed towards these steadfast souls. An act so inconceivable in my mind, but one which has taken place for the past 150 years to the Baha'is in Iran. They come with their machines of destruction and tear away at this sacred site. They dig up the gravestones of the dead, many of whom suffered under that same yoke of oppression and intolerance when they lived. Gravestones irreverently pushed to the side, the earth bare and bleeding, questioning the madness that seeks to constantly destroy an entire culture, a people whose contribution to the edification of that very country will assuredly go down in the annals of history. And this is but one of their basic human rights, which is being violated. Other rights include the denial of access to higher education, the refusal of bank loans and business permits, increasing inability to receive life insurance and medical insurance, the removal of voting rights, the right to practice their beliefs without fear of imprisonment, torture, or even death. And what's their crime? Belief in a new messenger of God, one who brings a message of love and fellowship, harmony and progress, one which sees the world as one country and mankind its citizens. It is their devotion to the healing power of this message and their steadfast commitment to its objectives that allows these precious souls to rise above the incessant onslaught of oppression and persecution. As stated by the Universal House of Justice, the supreme administrative body of the Baha'i Faith, in a letter to those dear souls, quote, "Under the most arduous conditions of vibrant community life continues, with the far greater intensity that testing alone can produce," end quote. Their growth, persistence, detachment, continued obedience to the government that oppresses them, their faith and trust in the future of that country, and its gradual acceptance of their cause, is mind-boggling and truly inspiring. The House of Justice continues by saying that, quote, "They, referring to the Muslims, are sensitive, perhaps even more than you are yourselves, to the spirit of courage and decency that you have displayed throughout these ordeals. And they are also awakening to the real character of those whose abuse of you defiles the honor of Islam, in whose name such crimes are perpetrated. If you are not yet physically free, you are at last beginning to win acceptance as a respected and valued part of the Iranian people." End quote. The Baha'is of the world scattered across the entire globe are watching with expectant eyes, praying for a time when their spiritual sisters and brothers in Iran will be free to act, live, and be who they are without fear of persecution and oppression. I myself am truly humbled by their enduring courage and their shining examples of steadfastness and forbearance. So in the end you can destroy their graves and their lives as much as you want, but it only increases the vitality of that sacred community and causes their light to shine ever more brightly in that dark place.